Hello, everyone. Today we're talking about February. All things February 2023. And February 2023 was my 40th birthday month. So that's probably the biggest thing that came out of February for me was that I turned 40. And I had a fantastic party with my friends, which we'll get to. But let's get right into it. I'm pressed for time. Shocker. So let's go. First things first, I went to a float tank. I don't know if any of you have experienced a float tank before. It's like a sensory deprivation, very high concentration of salt water tank. You can go in these like pods, but you can also go into like a whole room where it's like the first room is like your shower. There's your bench for you to get undressed, whatever. And then you open a door and like step into basically a rectangle room. That's a giant saltwater bath. And when you first get in it, at least with my experience, the twinkle lights are going and they're changing colors and there's nice relaxing music playing, and then you get yourself all situated and all of that kind of dims down and stops, and it is dead silent, pitch black. Like we're talking, I opened my eyes and the color didn't change. It was just as black as it was with my eyes closed. It was crazy. And it was very interesting. And I highly recommend this experience for everyone, especially if like I have a little bit of back pain, just like normal back pain, in my opinion. I don't think it's chronic or anything like that. But I noticed that while I was floating, I had no back pain. It was really cool, really different, lots and lots of salt in that water, like it crystallized on my skin. It was crazy, but a great experience. That was a birthday gift from a friend of mine. We've been wanting to do it together for a really long time, so we finally did it. I'll definitely do it again, not on any kind of like regular basis, but 100% I'll do it again. Great experience. I also got a tattoo, and this was something that I did kind of want to do for my 40th birthday, so I did it. Just a tiny tattoo, and I went with a girlfriend. We both got the same thing, and I wanted a moon tattoo for a really long time, so I got the crescent moon tattoo, which that's the phase on my shoulder is the one that the moon was in on the day that I was born, the night that I was born, so that's kind of cool, and something crossed off the bucket list, so also cool. All right, so let's talk about my birthday before we get into things that I bought and all that jazz. For my birthday, it was a birthday ending in 0. So in my friend group, when you have a birthday ending in 0, you get a big party, usually for a weekend. So you're not told where you're going. You're told what to pack and what days to be available, and that's it. So I get in the car and we ended up at Muskoka Beer Spa, and because it was middle of winter, it was like abandoned. We were the only people there, and we had a cabin in a very central location, so I could throw a stone and hit the Himalayan sauna. I could throw another stone and hit the steam room, and then I could throw another stone and hit the infrared sauna, and then there was a big fire pit right in front of our room, which we never got to use, but we had the best intentions of using it. Anyway, so that was my birthday weekend, and my friends made up grab bags for everyone. So usually with these birthday weekends, there's 2 or 3 people who are responsible for planning it. So the 2 people that planned it made grab bags for everyone that had 80s themed candies and treats and stuff in them because I was born in the 80s, but also they're very aware of my involvement in tarot and oracle. They are the ones I do my private YouTube pick a card readings for, and they put one of these in everyone's grab bag. They obviously like printed it from the internet, and what they did was everyone got a different one that was specific to them. So they found these online and they printed them off and they picked ones that they thought went with everyone's personality. So we read them out loud. We went around in a circle and everybody read theirs, and they were spot on. I just thought that was so amazing. The other really cool thing about my birthday was that I had 2 really cool birthday cakes. One I picked out myself, and a friend of mine volunteered to make it for me, so we'll get to that. The other was a surprise and probably $1,000,000. It was a tarot themed cake, and it was stunning. I felt terrible cutting into it. It was vanilla cake and then a layer of chocolate ganache inside. Oh my gosh, so good. And then my other cake was my coffin cake, which I did request. Everyone's like, oh, that's so morbid, and why did you want that? Blah, blah, blah. I requested this. I wanted this cake. I was obsessed with it when I saw it on Instagram. So a friend of mine made it. It was red velvet on the inside, also delicious. All the good things. So while I was at my birthday, I did pack a few tarot decks to bring with me. Now, typically I pack the whole shebang. I have a little like travel bag that I pack, and I fill that with a bunch of decks, tarot and oracle decks. I fill it with candles. I fill it with matches. I fill it with crystals. I fill it with room spray. I put Kleenex in there in case people cry. I put a little notebook. I put a pen, all the things. And then I never end up using it. And it breaks my heart every time. I have a pack a tarot bag with me video that you'll see all the stuff that goes into this, if you haven't already. So this time I was like, I'm not doing that. I'm not going to pack all this stuff only to be disappointed that I'm not using it. So I just packed 3 decks. I packed Golden Art Nouveau, Schitt's Creek, and Light Seers Tarot. And while I was there, you know, there were a couple lulls where I was like, oh, now would be a good time that I could offer tarot readings for people for free. Of course, I don't do paid readings. But I was like, no, I don't want to. And then I realized that the reason that I don't end up doing these readings when I'm at these girls' weekends or whatever is because that's what I do. I don't offer. I kind of like turtle inwards, and I'm like, I'm afraid I'm going to say something wrong, or the readings aren't going to resonate with people, or, you know, people are going to be like, oh, she's a terrible tarot reader, or whatever the case may be. So I don't say anything, and I don't end up doing it. So this time I was like, you got to do it. So I did. I said, anyone want a tarot reading? And of course, everybody was like, me. And I do think that some of the readings resonated with people, and some, maybe not the whole reading, but some cards in the reading didn't resonate with people. And that's okay, whatever. But there were also the readings where people were like, oh my God, yes, that makes so much sense. So that was rewarding, and that worked out. The other thing that really worked out is my spread deck. And I did add a sticker to it. I don't know, it says, stay in your magic. I just added the sticker so that I would know what the front of the book was, because I got really tired of opening it backwards and upside down. Shoot. So this book, I passed it around and everybody loved it. I think I talked about this in my January wrap-up video. So if you don't know what I'm talking about, you don't know what I did. It's somewhere in the January wrap-up video, I think. And even the back, where it gives like sample tarot questions, that part got good use as well. So what ended up happening was there's only one of them, and it was being passed around, and I was constantly hearing, where's the spread book? Who has the spread book? I want to see the spread book. So I'm going to have another one of these. I'm going to finish this one. This one's close-ish to being done. Like, let's see. So this much of the book has got stuff in it, and then this section of the book has, well, I was going to say nothing, but it does have the tarot questions at the back. So I'll add a couple more tarot questions and a couple more spreads, and then I'll do a whole other book so that 2 of them can be passed around at the same time. Something else very interesting happened on my birthday weekend. So back in, I don't know, this was last year, like in 2022, Ethany had posted something on her Instagram stories about, hey, if you want like a present from me, the first people to respond are going to get it. So I got this box from her, and it was a financial like spell kit. And in it was this aventurine bracelet. And you put it on and you anoint it with oil that was included in the kit every day, and you say your little spiel about finance, money coming my way, blah, blah, blah. And then when it falls off, the spell is done. So I started this in January thinking this would fall off like in a couple of weeks. And then all of a sudden it was like, oh no, this is going to be on my wrist for my 40th birthday. Like in all the photos, it's going to be there, and blah, 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 blah. So, I mean, it didn't matter, but I also didn't know what I was doing. So I was kind of like, I don't want to have like nice bracelets and then this like weird string green bead bracelet. But at my birthday, there was a restaurant on site that had a little gift shop, and there was a stand. Obviously it was like a local artist who makes bracelets, and I was looking at them and I'm like, oh, but I still have my green aventurine on. I don't really need another bracelet, but I kind of want one. The one was really calling to me. And I was reaching up for it and I was touching it and I heard a bead hit the ground. And I was like, oh no, I just broke one of these bracelets and there is about to be a shower of beads. I need to slowly back away so that nobody knows I did it. But I also wanted to pick up the bead off the floor because I didn't want someone to wipe out on it. So I picked up the bead and it was a green aventurine bead. And I was like, oh, weird. I have one of those. One just like that. And then I was like, oh my gosh, wait a second. And I pulled back my coat sleeve and this just fell out. And I was like, how bizarre is that? As I'm reaching for a new bracelet, this one breaks. So this is the one that I ended up getting. It is African turquoise. So out with the old and with the new. I just thought that was kind of a weird coincidence. Okay, so I did buy some crystals this month. Well, one was, I didn't buy it. I liked it and it was on the day of my birthday. My mom was like, I'll buy that for you. So this is amethyst and flower agate together. This one in particular looks more flower agate-y than amethyst. There was another one in the store that had way more purple in like a bottom corner, but this one was calling to me and I really like it and it's really pretty. It's different and it stands up. I don't know if my hand is not exactly, but it stands up. So it's cool. I like it. So there's that. And I also got raw amber. I forgot what it was called. I've not seen raw amber before. So that's something that's kind of cool. Different. And then I did buy a couple decks. I actually bought 3 decks, but one of them got caught up in the Indigo Chapters cyber attack. So I still don't have it. And I ordered it almost a month ago. It'll be a month ago tomorrow. Nope. Day after that. But I did buy the Divine Doors mini oracle. This was on my wish list for a very long time. And ultimately I don't like what are these called? Affirmation decks. I'm just not an affirmation deck person. But the reason I ended up purchasing it was because I do these pick a card videos for my friends. And I like the idea of putting these on each pile, putting a different one on each pile and telling people to pick the door that they like. So that's why I bought it. And just because I don't like affirmation cards doesn't mean that the people you're reading for won't like an affirmation card. But I don't know, like here's an example. So here's this door. I love it. Like I want to walk, well, I was gonna say I want to walk through that. That was kind of scary. But the back is Hummingbird Song. Nectar of sweetness, in joy it brings. The hummingbird's healing as medicine it sings. I have no idea what that means. And I don't know what I'm supposed to do with that information. Like, I'm not a deep person. I'm a very literal person. So for me, reading that, I'm like, what? But again, who am I to say that the people I'm reading for, like maybe some of you heard that and it really resonated with you and you loved it. And I'm jealous. I wish I had that depth because I do not. I know that I don't. The other deck I bought, and this was another one that I sat on for a very long time. And actually, so was the one that I just ordered a month ago from Indigo. It was one that I've sat on for a really long time. The Seasons of the Witch, Beltane. I have the Yule, I have the Samhain, but I kind of told myself I wasn't going to be all big into these decks. Like there's 8 Sabbats. That's 8 decks. That is a lot of decks. That's a lot of room on my shelf. I do not want to commit to 8 decks, especially because I don't really celebrate the Sabbats. I don't really have any rituals around the Sabbats. I do love Samhain and I do love Yule. That's why I have those 2. And I love them. I use them religiously that time of the year. The whole 2 years they've been available. But ultimately I decided to go with this deck because they changed the artist. And I wanted to have the 3 decks by the original artist and bees. There's a bee on every card, which I knew this whole time. It's not like I was like, oh, wait, there's bees on it? Now I've got to get it. I did know that. and it was 20% off, 21% off actually on Amazon. So I bit the bullet. I don't know if I'm going to get the other ones. I have no clue. I, at this moment, don't have an interest in getting them, so we'll see. What decks did I work with the month of February? So as with the last 2 monthly roundup videos that I posted, I believe, I did talk about how I am no longer assigning specific decks to specific weeks or months. I'm just going to use whatever decks I feel called to use. And that is working for me. And I'm finding I'm using a lot of my decks that way, which was the point. But I did start to realize that I wasn't reaching for my Oracle decks anymore, which is really funny because I just bought 3 of them in the month of February. So I wanted February to be more of an Oracle deck focus. I definitely still read tarot. I still used a bunch of tarot decks, which I'm not going to bother listing because there's so many. But I really wanted to focus on, there was 2 Oracle decks, and I was like, okay, I'm going to pick one for February and I'm going to pick one for March. The one that I picked for February was one that I was going to be getting rid of, and that's the reason why I picked it. I was like, okay, we'll have one last hangout and then bye-bye. Well, our time together is done. It turns out I love it. It was spot on. I'm no longer getting rid of it. And that's the Green Witch Oracle. This isn't, I don't love it, like aesthetically, we're not going to go through it. It's been around for a long time. That's kind of what they look like. It worked with everything. The tarot deck, I think I used it with 2 different tarot decks. I can only remember one right now, which was the Ritual Tarot, and it worked so well with it. It's a really shame I can't offhand remember the other one. But yeah, it was great. Loved it. Not getting rid of it. It's going back on the shelf. The other one I'm now using in the month of March, and it was one that I was not getting rid of. I was like dead set, I'm not getting rid of this deck. And so far I'm not enjoying it. Plot twist. I actually think it was one of my only 10 decks that I said I would never get rid of. We'll see how March goes. Stay tuned. 2 more topics to discuss super quickly. What have I been watching this month? Well, I'm still watching it. I started watching Buffy the Vampire Slayer, and I never realized how terrible it was. The reason I started watching it was because I want to prepare for the Buffy the Vampire Slayer tarot deck coming out. Will I own that? Am I going to purchase it? I'm undecided. I'm probably like 70% yes at this point in time. It's more for my pick a card readings. But I wanted to watch the show to familiarize myself with the characters and the events of the show and all that jazz, so that, because there was some in the walkthroughs that I've seen, I'm like, I don't know, I don't remember that. So I wanted to remember it. The fight scenes are terrible. You fully see that it's a stunt double. That is not Sarah Michelle Gellar's face. It is also very clearly a wig on that individual. That is not Sarah Michelle Gellar's face. So I'm watching it, I'm like, oh my, they're not even trying to hide this lady's face. And also some of the one-liners are like borderline cringy. Like one of them, and I don't want to spoil this for anybody, so if you are in the middle of watching Buffy the Vampire Slayer, this happened, I believe, in season 1, so if you're past season 1, you're fine. But spoiler alert for the next few seconds. She passes away briefly. She gets killed. She falls face down in like a pond of water. Some big honcho kills her, and then she's brought back to life, and then she goes after the big honcho, and he's all shocked to see her, to see that she's come back from the dead and whatever, and she goes, I may be dead, but I'm still pretty. And it was just so cringy. But anyway, I will watch the end of it. I will see it through. I'm stunned at how I didn't see this before. And it's kind of the same with like even childhood movies. You don't realize these things until you watch them as an adult. But why don't you see that? Even as a teenager, I should have seen that. It's not her face. Anyway, whatever. The other thing I wanted to talk about is I'm doing another ranking video. So I previously did a ranking of the only 10 mass market decks tag that was going around. I got curious. I wanted to see which ones came out on top for a whole other reason. That reason being I wanted a deck for my 40th birthday. Turns out that deck that I found that was absolutely perfect and gave me all of the Aquarius vibes does not ship to Canada. So I was heartbroken and I was like, well, fine then, I'm going to buy another one. but I didn't have one in mind. So I went to the Only 10 Mass Market Decks hashtag thinking I would find a cheaper deck to replace it with. I did not find a deck, but a couple of videos in, I started thinking, oh, I wonder like what the top decks are from this. Like what mass market decks are people really into? So I did that video and I kind of was like, I don't know if I'll ever do that again. It was a lot of work. I did it again. Because I didn't find a deck in that tag that I wanted, I went to a different tag and I'm currently in the process of compiling all that information. I am done, I think. I'm gonna triple, quadruple check to make sure I didn't miss any videos, but it's happening again. So keep your eyes peeled for that. I'm not going to name the hashtag just yet because I am going to do the same thing I did last time and head over to my Instagram and you'll be able to comment on my reel on which deck you think is going to come out on top of this particular tag. So that's fun. That's taken up a lot of my time. This one was so much more work. So much. Like so much to the point that I probably will never do this again because this was a lot. It was a lot. So that's February. And yeah, I've got a couple of videos coming out this month, that being one of them. Other than that, catch you on the flip side.